to the Sygun Copper Mine. My name's Williams, and I'll be showing you around this part of the mine. Do you know, it's well over 100 years since we last worked this part of the mine. It rains a lot in Wales, as you probably noticed, and that rain percolates through the rock down into the wetlands. The water on its way down dissolves iron from the rocks and forms stalactites and stalagmites of ferrous oxide. Rust, you call it. It's a funny thing though. It doesn't matter how hard it rains on the mountain above, or whether we have a dry summer, the water flow from the underground spring is always constant, never varying. The temperature is also constant at 49 degrees Fahrenheit, 928, winter and summer. Now, what can I tell you about the mine? Well, the first miners started looking for copper near the top of the mountain, directly over your head, and as they worked down, they had to drive tunnels or levels into the hillside to provide access, ventilation, and above all, drainage. Perhaps you saw the water draining through the tunnel along which you entered. There are other workings under your feet, which are now flooded, and had to be drained by the miners using simple hand pumps and buckets. They brought the copper ore up to this level using what we call a kipple, a sort of big bucket affair attached to a hand wheel. That wasn't all though. They then had to take the copper ore out to the mine to the surface for crushing and processing. And then after that it was taken away to be refined into copper. When the rocks had been cobbed and the ore separated, it was crushed into fine particles by machines called stamps or crushers, powered by water. The crushed ore was then fed onto what we call a tubing table. It was a kind of sieve that was moved up and down in water. A bit like you see them panning for gold in the old films, except instead of gold, the heavier copper particles settle at the bottom from where they are then collected. The copper concentrate was then taken by horse and cart to Portmanteau, then by ship to Swansea, Hamburg, or Liverpool, where it was refined into usable copper. It was very lucky indeed if the copper concentrate produced a return of 10%. These workings followed the counter-work. That's the smaller subsidiary vein. Will enter the main vein at a higher level as the tour progresses.
Oh.
Back in the primeval mists of time, around 500 million years ago, Snowdonia was a very different place. There were many volcanoes spewing out their lava and producing thick beds of volcanic ash, which can still be seen to this day. Here at Sygun, superheated steam and boiling water were forced through the fissures and cracks in the rocks, depositing many different kinds of minerals. In some parts of Wales, these minerals included gold, but here at Sygun, it was copper. It was, however, left to the invading Romans to introduce new methods of extracting the minerals. They dug deeper and improved ventilation and drainage methods in the mines. Although it is not proven, it is thought that Sygun Copper Mine probably dates back to the time of the Romans. And indeed, there was a Roman fort located quite close to here. However, the cavern you are now in dates back to the first part of the 19th century and would have been physically hewn out over many years by miners using hand drills, wedges, hammers and explosive black powder. We can only guess now at how many men must have been injured, trapped, maimed by roof faults or crushed to death during this work. The area they opened out in, following the ore vein, is known as Astrup. The old miners placed timbers across the slope as they worked to hold what they called the beds, the waste rock not worth taking out to the mine. The timbers would then form a convenient platform for the miners to work from as they progressed up the vein. Those timbers you just passed underneath are at least 150 years old. Around 1900, Sygun was owned by a man called Elmo, who discovered, probably by chance, at his mine near Beddgelert, a process that revolutionized mining throughout the world, known as the flotation process. Elmo built one of the first of these in the world here at Sygun. Its remains still exist next to the shop on your way out. Sygun Copper Mine eventually ceased production in 1903, thus ending a chapter in the industrial history of Snowdonia, leaving a monument to man's past endeavours and ingenuity.
There you are. I thought I heard someone coming. I'm just having a rest while the mine captain is away. I've recently moved to these parts. Been working in the mines in Cornwall. Heard there is gold being found in this area. Come to make my fortune. Hear the others working below. I'm sure one of them will come up and tell you something of this part of the mine.
Hello again. You've climbed a long way up the mineral vein, or lode as we call it. All this has been cut out by hand as the miners follow the copper ore. We're deep in the heart of the mountain, some 500 feet or 150 meters below the surface where the copper ore was probably first found. The principal copper ore mine here at Sygun was copper sulfide, chalcopyrite, which has a more brassy colour than iron pyrites or fool's gold. Richer copper ores such as the green malachite or blue azurite and the stunningly iridescent colour of peacock ore or boronite are also found. During the 1820 to 1850s, the ore was taken to the surface using a system of buckets, winches, chutes and tramways. To be sorted by size, hand-dressed or cobbed, the ore being separated from the waste rock. Well, there was a group of us. There was I, Ellis Williams, John Jones, Griffith Pritchard, and Robert Roberts, and he was a character, I can tell you. Anyhow, we got together and agreed upon a contract where we would be paid by results. We would work for a month, a month, mind you. Then, usually on a Saturday, we called it a setting day. The work we carried out was measured. Our wages were based on how much we had dug during the month, and we were paid so much a fathom. It wasn't all profit for us, you know. We had to pay for our own tools, black powder for blasting, candles to see with, blacksmiths to sharpen our picks, and carpenters' charges for the roof timber. We had to timber the mine ourselves, and we had to remove all the waste rock from where we were working. We got on average about £1 or £2 each per month. We worked 10 hours a day, 6 days every week except Christmas. They gave us Christmas Day off. Oh, and if we broke any regulations, we were fined 5 shillings, nearly a full quarter of our month's wages. I found this old contract the other day. It says,
We, the undersigned, do agree to work the Sygun Copper Mine for 6 months, and to give to the mining company 1 ton of copper ore out of every 10 mined, and to keep not less than 3 able men at work, and if the air at the bottom level should get too hot.
Well, a time to move on now. The vein or ore body opened out just here. There was, as I remember, a lot of copper found, and it was one of the most productive parts of the mine. The stoping carries on way above the timbering for another 75 feet, 23 meters, where it connects with yet more workings higher up in the mountain. The large bolts of timber are actually forming the timber floor of what we call the Victoria level, named after the most gracious Majesty, Queen Victoria. If you look carefully, you will see that the timbers are wedged very firmly between the rock faces, with pockets cut out where necessary to hold the ends of the timber beams in place. Timbering was then placed the other way, Then rubble was spread over to form the floor. On top of all this, they actually built a tramway to remove the ore from the mine. Imagine working down here and hearing the trucks way up there rumbling along, each one carrying over a ton of ore. During the restoration of the mine, the present owners had to put special rock bolts over 5 foot long, 1.5 meters long, to secure the faulted rock. In my time in the mine, such things were unheard of. Well, the story of the Sygun Copper Mine ended in 1903, when the mine finally closed. They tell me it was partly due to poor quality ore in the mine, and something about increased competition from the rich ore supplies being imported from abroad. Anyway, Sygun closed. Some mining in the area continued until the 1930s, and mineral prospecting in Snowdonia has taken place very recently. It was hard work, very hard indeed. In fact, I'll tell you how we did it if you like. We only had candles. They gave out very little light. I can remember my father telling me about Griffith Owen. He would collect bracken and bring it into the mine to sleep on. Lots of miners did that, especially during the winter when the snow was deep. Just think, up to 20 miners risking life and limb, producing between 10 and 20 tons of ore per month. It would take ages to drill the hole for blasting. Then we put in the powder and pack it tight with clay. Light the fuse and get well back. Right, we are now on the Victoria level of the mine. Do you remember me telling you about the false floor put in by the miners? Well, you're standing next to it now. This is Victoria level, one of the main tramways and tunnels of the mine. Up there above your head, there are 5 more levels in the mine. I can remember them sending the copper ore down these chutes into trucks waiting underneath. This ore chute is exactly as it was when the mine shut down in 1903. If you look closely, you will see the copper ore still in there where the miners left it. When I first started at Sygun Copper Mine, I used to have to help to push the trucks full of copper ore along this very tunnel out to the surface. From there it went around the mountainside and crossed the wooden bridge to the processing plant. Remember, there are many miles of passageways and tunnels in a mountain. It is so easy to get lost. If you find an old mine entrance, keep well away. I hope you've enjoyed your visit underground to the Sygun Copper Mine. Diolch yn fawr. Thank you for sharing my world for a while. I'm just going to push this truck along the tunnel. Perhaps you'd better follow me out to the daylight. Come on, are you ready? Push!
And don't forget, tell your friends of the warm welcome that awaits them in the heart of Snowdon. Hwyl fawr, a gobeithio'n wir yn cael eich gweld chi eto. We bid you farewell, and we do hope that
Before you lies the beautiful Gwynant Valley. Some 75,000 years ago, during the Ice Age, it was filled with a glacier of slow-moving ice. Everywhere in North Wales, the ice has left evidence of its presence. The U-shaped valleys of Llanberis, Padarn and Anfrancon were once filled with ice, and scratches, glacial stria, caused by rocks trapped under the ice, cutting like files, have left deep scratches on many rocks in this area. As the climate became warmer at the end of the Ice Age, the glaciers retreated. Vegetation began to grow, and animals such as hyena, bear, and of course wolves began to inhabit the valleys. Immediately opposite this viewpoint lies Craig Wen, and to its right, Yr Aran,
rising to 747 metres at its peak. Snowdon, or Wyddfa, the highest mountain in Wales, lies between and behind the valley formed by the peaks Araran and Lliwedd. Moel Siabod, at 872 metres high, can be seen to the extreme right-hand side of this breathtaking panoramic view. The peaks that surround you are the home of many tales of mystery and legend. One concerns Dinas Emrys, the island of dome-shaped rock situated in the shadow of Craig Wen, and was once the site of an ancient hill fort. The legend concerns King Arthur and the great wizard Merlin. During the reign of King Vortigern in the 5th century, in an attempt to stem the tide of Saxon invasion, the king decided to construct a fort on the hilltop. However, the foundations proved unstable, and the walls collapsed. Vortigern sent for the magician Merlin, who suggested that the earth below the proposed fortress be removed. When this had been done, a pool discovered underground was emptied, revealing 2 sleeping dragons, one white, one red. They woke and fought a fearsome battle until the white dragon was defeated and fled. Merlin told the king that this was a prophecy of the future, showing the sacred red dragon of Wales defeating the Saxon white dragon, a vision of the Celts driving the Saxons out of their land forever. The legend also tells us that this is why the red dragon appears on the Welsh flag. The view before you is virtually unchanged from the days when Sygun was a working copper mine. The miners emerging in the middle of winter would have had little time or inclination to appreciate the beauty of their surroundings. Put yourself in their place. Imagine for a moment emerging from the mine out into the winter darkness, wet, cold and tired. Wet clothes which froze on you as you walked, driving rain, fatigue. Those were the realities of working at Sygun. The pathway to your right will lead you back to the visitor centre. Thank you for visiting us at Sygun Copper Mine. And don't forget, tell your friends of the warm welcome that awaits them in the heart of Snowdonia. Hwyl fawr, a gobeithio'n wir y cawn i'ch gweld chi eto. We bid you farewell, and we do hope that we'll see you again soon.